So Ron, how long have you been with Mantle Realty?
It's probably been about 2 years.
How did you get involved with Mantle Realty? Did you know about them like right off the bat?
So actually, I had never heard of Mantle Realty, and my story for coming to Mantle is a bit of a crazy one. I was coaching a youth football team, and in the middle of a game, all of my parents absolutely went ballistic on the sidelines. I had 3 or 4 of them run onto the field. I didn't understand what had happened, and one of the parents said, "That coach on the other team grabbed my son." And I was like, "What?" Because I was standing out there in the middle of the whole thing. And after the game, the parents insisted this other coach grabbed his son and shook him and carried on and was yelling at him and cussing up a storm. And so after the game, the parents insisting as much as they did, I approached the league and was like, "Hey, we need to do something about this. Apparently it's a problem." Well, turns out we had video, or the other coach had video of the entire thing, and nothing like what the parents said happened at all. So I had to eat my hat on that one for sure. I met that other coach by that, and it turns out the other coach was Dustin, the owner of Mantle Realty.
After you found out about Mantle from your spat with Dustin, what drew you to actually come to it?
So anytime I meet somebody new, and especially with our interaction of arguing at first meet, I pay attention to what's going on and what people do and their actions to see their intent. And from the day we got into it on the football field, I saw him several more times and always paid attention to what he was doing, how he was doing it, the way he was treating people, things like that. It's not often you run into people who are doing so much for others. Through that, got to know him better, and I actually reached out to him. Don't even know if he knew I was a real estate agent at the time that I reached out to him, and told him that I wanted to talk to him about business.
So what company were you working for before? And what's the difference of Mantle versus your other company?
So I worked for Keller Williams in Kernersville. Real estate was not easy with Keller Williams. They wanted me to pay a lot of fees and pay to be on teams and go out and buy my own leads. And I was told constantly that I needed to struggle as a real estate agent. Surprisingly enough, when I decided to leave, they pulled out all the stops and told me how, they can help me and they can give me leads and they can do this and they can do that. And, gushed over how they had been doing that for their own kids who had just graduated weeks before, And all the time they told me I needed to struggle, but the people that they loved and cared about didn't need to struggle. And, moving to Mantle Realty, it was different atmosphere. It wasn't as much a business. It was a family. Whereas like at Keller Williams, I worked with probably around 370 other agents, and I knew 2 or 3 of them. At Mantle Realty, I've met absolutely everybody that works for the company. I've spent time with everybody that works for the company, and I've coached most of their kids. In sports.
That is true. So the atmosphere is more family oriented, not as much. What kind of sales have you done today? What kind of cracking the whip at Mantle?
Yeah, and Keller Williams was very much, everything is driven by money. I mean, your whole goal at the beginning of every year was to cap as soon as possible. And what cap means is you have to sell so much percentage or make Keller Williams so much money that you got all of the money from each deal that you made after that. So what all the agents would do is stack all their deals at the end of the year so that all of their closings and deals went through the first 2 weeks of January so that they would cap before January was even out and then focus on just their money the rest of the year. And it was all money. Everything was money driven. We give away money at events. We buy stuff, we buy bags, we give away bags, it's all money. A long time ago, I was a car salesman, was not my thing. I didn't want to high pressure sell anybody into anything. And that's exactly what Keller Williams felt like. When I came to Mantle, it was the opposite. I got to switch to seeing myself more as a real estate guide instead of a real estate salesperson. I didn't want to sell somebody on something they didn't want. I wanted to help them make the best decision for them.
If you were a new agent and you're thinking about joining firms, what questions would you ask before you joined them?
The number one question everybody's going to ask is about the compensation split. You want to make money when you get into anything that you're going to dedicate your time to. So, of course, that's one of the main questions you're going to ask. The next thing you're going to ask is what kind of help will you have when you need it? Because at Keller Williams, I would call 5 or 6 people and never get anybody on the phone for assistance. And this is as a brand new real estate agent. And at Mantle Realty, most of the time, Dustin answers the phone. No. No,
Usually, most of the time. Yeah.
most of the time. Somebody will be there to help you, regardless of who it is.
Her name is Bonnie. What's been your favorite Mantle memory so far? Can be anything.
Oof.
Doesn't have to be a sale. It could be an event. It could be party. It could be just going out. It doesn't matter. What's been your favorite Mantle memory?
The favorite Mantle memory is the 4th of July party when we were shooting footballs at 80 miles an hour at Jason and Austin.
So, some of our bankers. Yes, we're shooting footballs at our bankers out of a jugs machine. So, we have a good time. We work hard. We play hard, right?
Yeah. And I'm there in case anything goes wrong.
Yes. Yes. Hey, guys.
I get to play dad.
You're still a pretty new realtor right now in the grand scheme of things. What's been the hardest transition that you weren't expecting as a realtor?
I think everybody freaks out over the paperwork part of it, making sure that everything's filled out the right way. But that's just that's anything you do. You got to make sure that all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. The thing that's probably caught me off guard the most would be the sporadicness of the schedule. Like how, you don't ever know where you're going to be or what you're going to be doing. Like, you could be sitting in the office one second expecting to be answering calls or calling people, and then, all of a sudden it isn't 45 seconds later, you're in your car driving to meet somebody to show a property. And then you never know who's going to come in, who's going to go out. So it's a very random schedule and interactions. And now I'll say this, I think that it's one of the most effective ways. So you do have to be flexible, but I think it's if you can get good at scheduling yourself and planning everything, it's the most flexible kind of job you can have. Now you have to be flexible as well to get that flexibility, but I don't know anywhere where you're going to make the kind of money that you can make in real estate and basically do whatever you need to do whenever you need to do it.
If I'm picking up what you're putting down here, pretty much you're saying your time management and client expectations got to be on point for you not to run haywire.
Yeah, definitely.
And how's that affect your wife? Is she cool with it? Is she just frustrated sometimes of you dealing with people on the phone after hours, or saying, oh, I gotta go do a showing whenever you planned on doing something else with her? Like, how's she take it?
My wife is great about it. When it comes to real estate stuff, she's all about it. She understands. I'm lucky enough that she's a mortgage lender, a mortgage specialist. Now, the ridiculous phone calls are the ones she doesn't like. She gets more mad when I'm on the phone with Dustin late at night talking about football or...
Yep. I get the same thing on my side.
Because real estate, she's fine. Hey, do you need more time?
Most spouses are not, after a while. But,
Dustin, did you see who the Panthers hired?
No.
Get off the phone!
Yeah, that's it. If you are a brand new agent, just got your real estate license, knowing what you already know, would you come back to Mantle or would you go somewhere else?
Yeah, I would come back to Mantle. So I've had a lot more experiences even with other real estate firms by working through Keller Williams and working with Mantle. There's not another firm like Mantle. Not anywhere near us, for sure. Now, there may be another Dustin on the other side of the country, maybe the other side of the world, but Mantle Realty is Mantle Realty because of Dustin.